Hey everybody, welcome back to Wolf Castle. We've been away for a while, but we've been reading during that time. You especially have
I
been
have
reading
been reading a lot.
so much. It is crazy impressive the amount that you've been reading recently, like over the last month. What do you think? What sort of damage have you done?
At least 8 books.
8 books. I'm like hitting that in a year. No, like okay, I mean like 12 in a year.
I
So you are annihilating it. Amazing job. What's your most recent read?
The most recent thing I read was The Courting of Bristol Keats.
Mm.
That one we actually have right here.
It was waiting for us.
The Courting of Bristol Keats.
Waiting for us
With
on the
its
sidelines.
very pretty spine.
Vanna this for you.
Yes.
Mm.
I was leaving Barnes & Noble with a giant stack that was planned.
So many books.
And this one was unplanned, but it was pretty.
The cover got you, didn't it?
It did. And then it talked about Faye and
pretty cover, Faye, edges.
I mean, and I am a sucker. I do have keys placed throughout my home.
That's the real reason.
As
Put a lock on your book. We're buying it.
A lot of moons. Keys and moons just really speak to my little inner witch.
That does seem like a combo that is gonna get a lot of people to buy. So
yeah. Did you grow up? Were you in middle school in 2003? Did you also have all of the moon and star decor that was everywhere in the house? You know what I'm talking about. You do. If you were alive when I was alive, you know.
Well, I think they're alive when you're alive now. Hopefully.
When I was alive before. Not now. Obviously now. We're all here at the same time.
Well, unless they're watching this like 10 years from now.
Oh, then I might not be here. I don't know.
Who knows? Okay. Did the cover match the inside? Like, did this accurately represent what you were going to end up reading and that you have now read?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, yes. I feel like there's a lot of high fantasy here. Like, they're gonna be. You're gonna have orcs. You're gonna have. You're gonna have blue people. You're gonna have people with horns. And moss creatures who are like growing.
How do I get that from the cover?
You don't get that from the cover? I guess you might not. It does. What it does do is...
I mean, what you're saying sounds better. There's like keys and there's snakes. But that feels all like our world to me.
The snake does show up.
Are there snake people? Serpent?
The snake talks.
Right,
he talks.
I mean, that's close.
He's funny. I like him.
Yeah, well,
he's also made of wood.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, again, these... I clearly do not know about this book. And hearing these, like, random things... Okay, intriguing. I mean, I feel like...
He's a guardian of sorts.
If that snake on there, either of those snakes, had been made of wood, I would have been more intrigued. So... So sort of matching it. What aspects feel like? Well, I don't think I let you finish. What do you say matches it? The high fantasy aspect.
The high fantasy of it. I feel like the entire premise is around finding a door, and so the key iconography is really reminiscent of what do you need to unlock the door? Who is the key? I feel like this. Although is this fantasy, is also looks like a mystery.
I was gonna say that does give some mystery vibes to it.
This book does deliver on mystery.
Yeah.
It's got if you would like to pick apart every petal and be like, is this? I was gonna try to do an analogy from He Loves Me Not. Did he do it? Did he not?
I think
but that sentence didn't come out right.
We get it, though. We know what you're
Unlike the author of this book, who can put a metaphor and analogy into everything, which is probably why my brain was like, I can do that. I've been reading about it. And no, I could not. So not in this moment.
So talk about the writing style, because I know that's been a thing.
So for me, I've been crushing books. I do this on Audible. I do this while I'm at work. I also do it while I'm at home. Mm-hmm. I also read, like... all the other people without dyslexia in print. But for this one, I had to put all the training wheels on. What?
I have to keep holding it.
I just wanted to. He can hold it now. I guess it does feel weird when someone else is holding it.
No, it's just here with us always now. Just hanging out. Just together. Anyway. So the writing took a bit to get into.
Yes. So I have been reading a lot of very straightforward prose-wise fantasy. This is much more gilded. This is going to have metaphor. I think what you called it for was purple prose.
Ah, yes. Yeah. We were reading some of the beginning, and I was like, oh, that feels like purple prose.
Yeah, whereas he is the writer, I am just a consumer, and so and a consumer with dyslexia, so prose is not always the thing that I am looking for.
Which makes sense.
I was an actor. My background is, does this connection work? Do these characters make sense? Is there a motivation that makes me care and keeps me involved?
So, did the prose help?
At first, it very much detracted.
Okay.
That could be because I was reading an urban bear shifter fantasy set in the South. And
if we get enough likes, that's coming your way next.
That was
You ready, YouTube? Bear shifters.
That's a White Shoes novel, and it's filthy. But
what's the filth level on this book?
This gets like half a chili pepper.
Half
a chili pepper. This gets a very classy chili pepper with a bow tie and a sports coat. It feels like...
So low spice.
It feels like if the spice was being read in the room with your friends, you wouldn't have the sweat emoji.
Everyone agrees is fine.
Everybody's like, oh, they're tastefully getting together.
They're tastefully doing it. Nice. Nice.
And her head went lower. And that's the end of the sentence.
So all the descriptions you're getting for other things feel like it's not quite applying to those.
No, this was very tactfully done. If this woman's daughter reads it, she will not feel odd.
No, I find that kind of fascinating, right? They've chosen the more elaborate prose style, but then not using that in your, quote unquote action scenes. It's just...
Yeah, there's no mention of a rooster.
Interesting choice. Okay, I know we moved away from it. You said what you care about is like characters and connections. Did we get that?
I feel like the character Bristol, who is a lady, by the way.
Oh. Had that wrong.
Thought that Bristol Keats was a gentleman.
I thought the gentleman was getting courted, and I was like, all right, okay.
You know what? So did I. That was not what happened. With the family, and with, like, for instance, the whole book starts in kind of this Stars Hollow-y town where this tragedy has happened. I feel like the prose...
That's Gilmore Girls.
They know.
If you're here, you know.
I had a sentence.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. ADD. Those of you who know. Yeah, so Stars Hollow is its own like character. Is its own character, and I feel like the town that Bristol is in is its own character.
That's fun.
You get to kind of know that, and as far as the urban part of this fantasy, I feel like that was well done.
And the friendships you had said something about?
Yeah, so I'd like to start with, though, is in the relationship she has with her past and this town weigh heavily on the beginning, and then the relationships with her family kind of weigh on the beginning, and then slowly you get a letter from a mysterious aunt, and because Bristol grew up as grifter with her family, and so that creates a certain level of distrust. Plus, she recently had 2 family tragedies, so that weighs heavily on her perspective and how she's looking at her town, the world, her view of safety, and her view of comfortability within being in her body, dealing with all of this grief.
Sounds more like a drama in some ways.
Yeah, it is a drama.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so
I just know some romanticy is more like a beat, so good to know that this is more kind of sad in some ways.
I mean, Honestly, I don't know a lot of romantasy that's upbeat.
Oh.
I know
I guess I was thinking like Fourth Wing or something, but I guess a lot of people are dying.
a lot of people die
but
in
they're really happy
What
about
is
it.
he talking
They're
about?
having a great time most of the time. They're
What
just having
romantasy
funsies.
does is it deals with with themes of overcoming narcissism, overcoming manipulation,
Right. Like those bad relationships.
These are all the coming of age stories that
like emotional.
Well, not only.
Well, no, I didn't mean only. I just meant with some of the things you were describing.
And it's a coming of age into an emotional maturity, and that's also what I feel like a lot of romantasy does really well, is it shows not only a fantasy relationship between the sheets, but in an intimacy perspective when dealing with hard things. I mean, we all have things that are incredibly hard that happen in our lives, and how we deal with those things in healthy ways with our our cat just jumped a fence to be here with us.
You broke in. He's like, are we talking about Bristol Keats?
Yeah.
I need in on this conversation.
I feel like what romantasy now our husky is groaning because she can't get past the gate.
It's like a protest to one of you being in here.
I'm codependent, and you guys are talking about trauma. I'm experiencing it now.
So does this book do those things well?
In regards to friendships and her relationship with her family, yes. For me personally, I did not feel like the attractiveness. I would have passed so hard on the main character, and
on the
normally
main love interest.
On the main love interest.
Okay, so the main
and normally
love
I'm like, is this my new favorite? No offense, baby. But I'm like, oh, this is such a good example of this part of relationship, and this guy is such an ice king, and all he knows how to process is his anger, and he's either nothing or he's mad about it. And bless Bristol.
That does seem tricky to find enticing. Besides the physical qualities.
And there are shows and books that do it really well, where you can start to see that ice chip off, and you can, and your love is going to be the only thing that changes him, and
the classic.
He's really mean to everybody else, but he's very nice to you. And if only everyone else could get to know him, just not in the bedroom, and then it would all be fine if he could just be vulnerable enough with other people.
But I'm taking not this book.
There's I mean, for me, it's well past 60 chapters in 110. So you're past the midway point before you start to get some of those, like, I like him feelings.
That's a slow burn. That is a slow burn.
It is, and you get chapters from his perspective.
Oh, does that help the narrative, or like help your?
I think I'm just mad at him. I think I just feel like,
now that I really know what you're thinking, I hate you even more. So not would you recommend this book, but who would you recommend this book to if you were recommending?
I feel like if you
obviously to this guy.
Really wanted to you want to dive into a world that is full of, like, for instance, Celtic pantheon enthusiasts.
That's cool.
Like,
that's me.
It's really, really neat that Mary Kate E. Pearson, it's really neat that she focused on the Celtic pantheon and Celtic myths, and you can tell in the names that are Gaelic. You can tell in the traditions and the stories. That I think that's really fun. If you're looking for a really interesting world, if you really want to go on a mystery finding expedition with a main character, I think that this is a really good book.
Well, and there's a whole like Fae side, right? So
Yeah.
you're getting to see that Fae culture and stuff and the cultural differences.
Yes.
So okay,
So we pass from
it's like friends, culture, mystery.
Mm-hmm.
This book.
There's an incident. There's an activating event where you go and she's in Fae realm and she's immersed.
Yeah. So you did say the high fantasy side of things. So yeah. All right. So I can see those like draws. So who wouldn't you recommend this for then?
For my fellow filth goblins. If you really want to roll around in the dirt, if you want your hair pulled a little bit, this is probably not it.
Noted. And then also, it seems like you do need a specific type of love interest for this to work, because I imagine a big portion of the novel is the nature of the love interest.
Well,
or if you're just okay with a slower burn.
It's a slower burn.
Yeah.
If you like a slow burn, if you like a classy sex scene, and there are many of my girlies who are like, whoa, I did not need to read about the rooster in such detail. And like that's totally cool. This is classy. Once they do, and the connection happens. It just doesn't happen to me. After the connection is when I could connect with the main male character.
It just took a while.
It took a while, and lately I don't sleep on novels. Like I've just burned through them, and this one did take me a while.
I do feel like that says something that it took so long.
But it's also, I have been reading a lot of prose that is just like a clear glass. You said that purple prose. I love the analogy that you said Brandon used.
Oh, yeah. Just that purple prose is like a stained glass window that you're seeing the events through. So you see the window and you see the events with purple prose, like the prose, the writing, the words being the window or not. And then clear glass is basically the words are just trying to convey the story without distracting you in any way, shape, or form. So all you're seeing is the story in your mind.
Yeah, I think I like a leaded glass window.
Leaded glass.
I think I like some definition. I like some description. But I still just do, I think, and what I've been reading a lot of lately is clear glass. And so for me, I feel like the juxtaposition of those, I jumped too far and I was like, whoa, my brain needs a second to transition. I do say that the narrator on this.
Right, you were talking about it. I'm glad you remember.
Is absolutely outstanding. I really, there was a scene where there were minimum 8 characters, if not 12, in a room, and she could bounce to all the different voices and you understood who was speaking.
That's impressive.
She does male characters very well. And bonus points, if you get the Audible version of this book, there is an interview with her and the author both talking about their process and pronunciations and Gaelic.
I like that.
And
pronunciation key.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really enjoyed that.
Okay, so we covered people who might like this. We've covered some people who might not like it, maybe if you're just wanting more spice. So for the people that don't want the purple prose, that don't want low spice levels, what would you recommend to close us out today?
Oh.
What can they go read? Because they're not reading this one.
But about fairies or about anything?
That's a good question. I mean, fairies feel like they're a pretty common, like, element in romance.
Oh, what did I just read?
There's a lot.
Yeah, actually, we might need to add to that list because I did read that whole series. That was really good. What was that? You're gonna have to edit this.
Goodness, Gone with Stars Are Dying?
No, because it's not about fairies.
It doesn't have to be about fairies. We're keeping all the same. Right?
No. Rude.
No one knows how to edit here.
You guys, make him edit.
I like that our goal was to do it in 10 minutes. We're almost at 20.
I didn't say that was my goal. That was your goal.
All right, fair.
Okay. Why is it doing this to me right now?
We have 0 recommendations for you.
I have recommendations.
We've not read enough novels to suggest
A Court This
anything.
Cruel and Lovely. I just read that entire series, and this would actually be a really, really good.
Okay.
And bonus points. This ends. It's a satisfying ending, but it's a cliffhanger. You're definitely going to be waiting for the second book.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed where we left off our two main characters. But there are so many things that have not been answered. Is this like Rebecca Yarros? No. It's not that level of cliffhanger.
But it's still got a cliffhanger.
It does have a cliffhanger, but it's a nice soft one where you're like, we're safe. We're okay for right now.
But the good news is that the other book has more books.
Yes, it does. So, Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stasia Stark has, I believe, 5?
Oh, wow. So yeah,
Title details.
You can really dig in. Plenty to read.
How many of these did I read? 4. So it's 4 books. It has an ending.
So it's finished.
This is finished.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's A Court This Cruel and Lovely, A Kingdom This Cursed and Empty, A Crown This Cold and Heavy, and A Queen This Fierce and Deadly.
So I'm assuming it's got clearer prose and more spice.
Clear prose, more spice, still high fantasy. There are pirates. There are...
And fae, I'm assuming.
Yes. Mm-hmm. There are fae. Mm-hmm. Lots of magic system. There's an underground. There's lots of things. Yeah, I know.
Emotional.
Allergies on one side of my face.
All right,
it's silly.
I think we did it. So that's this book. You know, hey, if it sounds good.
I don't know if you guys have seen it.
we did this one because you've just been crushing books, and then this one was so slow
now we have to add 4.
in comparison.
So what did I say? 8. So is that 12?
12 books in a month. She's been killing books, and this one took like a week or something.
It
or longer. So it was a standout for like that interesting reason. But you know, hey, next time maybe we'll come at you with some bears. Maybe we'll talk more about the court book.
If you guys want Why Choose books, I have 3 that I would recommend. 2 I have in print. The bears one I don't.
No bears here? We gotta get you the bears.
I don't think so. And I've only read 2, and it's like, I think, a 5-book series, but the first 2 is a duology with the same characters, whereas the other ones are all standalones.
Oh, well, that makes sense. We haven't continued on that.
Yeah.
I feel like people are going to want to know about this Bears book. Well, let us know in the comments. We'll see. Otherwise,
I think it's called Bear With Me.
Amazing.
It's the
Bear
titles.
With Us,
the titles are no. That's the second one. I told you it was a White Shoes novel.
Perfection. I mean, you don't get better titles. Thank you for joining us here at Wolf Castle with our cats and dogs and books. We hope that this has given you some stuff to read, because that's why we're doing this. There's so much content out there. We just want to help people connect with stories that they can enjoy. So we'll do more with books and probably some anime and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Look forward to seeing you again then.
Bye.